Well, it is I thought we'd do this song because it's a celebration song. And there are a number of things to celebrate today. She might have put lyrics for at least a few of them out, but you remember this. It's about two flowers, one of which I have on my shirt, but it's not really about two flowers. It's what's all behind it all. Celebrate this day in the most solstice, soulful, fatherly, whatever way. Celebrate this place, it's the most sacred space. And celebrate this time, may all things align. And celebrate the season, 'cause love's the only reason. First came the locust, then the rose. We are in the center where love goes. So you can just clap while I'm doing this. That's good. Who's the drummer anyway, right? I'm in you. You are in me as we celebrate in the circle where only love can be. Celebrate your pride, we can all turn the tide. Celebrate your life as we dance in the light. First came the locust, then the rose. We are in the center where love, yes, love, only love.
Nice, that was fun.
That was fun. Y'all were really getting into that.
Really great
Nice.
lyric.
Yeah,
Thank
Really
you.
great lyric.
I'm going to open with a brand new song.
Great.
Y'all want me to do that?
Yeah.
It deals with the power of the month, which is imagination. At least in my book it is. You can't have too much of that, right? It's about, this new song is about envisioning your best life, imagining your best life. Through all trials and tribulations that you may have, from within yourself, and if you let other things get on under your skin like I do sometimes, and things going on in the world and things. But the title of my talk today is Reimagining Father's Day. And I'll try to do a good job about that, reimagining it. But this song is also was inspired by what I talked about a couple of weeks ago, water. There's something about water. When I reach a point, if I'm writing, for example, a new song or a talk or working on an essay, and I get to a point my mind just goes dry and I say, what am I doing? Have I bit off more than I can chew? What do I do? And just like I can't, get writer's block. And so I just go to the water. And that seems to make my imagination flow. It's just the way I am. Maybe it's because I'm a Cancer son, but whether I go to a river, a stream, a creek, a pool, lake, or the ocean, just envision that. Envision this, imagine that, I won't miss, I'll get to it stat. It's my bliss, envision that. Have I bit off more than I can chew? Am I running around thinking, what can I do? When my thoughts get so dry and I get too dang tired, time to finish this song and stay. water, floating upstream in a living dream. Envision this, imagine that, raise the vibe, turn the tide, raise the vibe and be your pride. Imagination is power, every day and every hour. If the divisive chaos gives me a shove, I won't abandon unconditional love as I go to the water. Imagination flows, and let's not destroy our waters, so we can float upstream in living our dream. There is no limit to the amount of waves in the ocean. And if there was, it would be too late for us to be here anymore. Maybe abundant blessings and possibilities are a better notion. To envision a world that realizes the love that we are, that we are, that we are. I can play this lick, I swear. Envision that, imagine this, I can't miss, love's where I'm at. And would it really be a song of mine if I didn't use the word divine? And if the negative chaos gives me a shove, I envision a world of unconditional love as I return to the water. Imagination flows. I find myself in the living water, and my imagination soars, 'cause we are in the same waters, envisioning.
Wow.
You did it right
You
creative.
need more energy though, you know. Wonderful, I love that.
Yeah.
It's a water song, but it's more than that. Yeah, thank you very much. So, as I said, the title, my talk is a Reimagining Father's Day, whatever that may mean. It's a it's a loaded day. I don't know if I'll stay on topic or not, who knows. But imagine that, me getting off topic. So it fits the topic, right? Imagine that, reimagine. I'm going to re-envision everything. But it's Father's Day, it's also the summer solstice. And so obviously there's a lot of things to talk about and get into here. There are many ways of looking at the way fathers have affected us all. That David word was a great introduction to that. It obviously depends on what your personal journey is with fathers, whether it's your father, your grandfather, a fatherly figure. But I always want to take a step back and try to see how, it makes me want to think about how does the divine masculine manifest in our lives in a positive way. My own relationship with my own father is complicated, was. And I'll sing about that in a little while, but it's a mixed bag of things, but a lot of positive as well. And I always like go back and look at the positive. Father spirit is a term. We want to focus on that positive force in our lives. Father spirit, and in some indigenous people refer to it as Father Son, they've written about. S-U-N, like Sister Moon, Mother Earth, Father Son. But it also sounds like Father Son, S-O-N, you say it. Sort of like in the song the river is flowing, which I think I sang here recently. It's a Native American song. The sun, he is shining, brightly shining. The sun, he is shining, lighting the way. Father, sun, shine over me. Your child I will always be. Father, sun, shine over me until we are free. Free. That's just one of the verses from that. But you take it out of context, it's still in our context, but it really has so much meaning for today. And I think of freedom, what was it 2 days ago? Juneteenth, right? Celebrating the freedom of emancipation. When it finally made it to the Galveston port, and 2 years later, when the enslaved people of Texas learned that they were not slaves. Whether they thought they were or not, but they weren't. And that's what, that's what Juneteenth is, such a celebration of that. And we're just a few weeks away from Independence Day, July 4th, freedom encapsulated into a holiday. No matter what indigenous oppression that we have put on people in our own, especially white male patriarchy that is the dominant culture that we're living in now, we can see this balance of this pendulum swinging back if we so choose to change our energy for that. And this is a great time to look at it between Juneteenth and July 4th in my book. What is freedom? Spiritual freedom. I'm going to talk about that in a few weeks, about spiritual freedom being really tied to our own physical freedom and mental freedom. But why the male patriarchy that seems to have really reared its ugly head the last few years, and I think you all know what I'm talking about, is at the risk of alienating everything else around us and every other country and people and society. We can look at the balance of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and that we all can embody, no matter what gender we are. Male, female, in between, whatever, doesn't matter. The Eastern, in Chinese philosophy and Eastern philosophy, you've looked at as the yin and the yang, right? The yin being representing receptivity, softness, intuition, depth, and water, of course. And the yang, associated with the masculine, represents logic, direction, action, fire, and structure. We all need parts of all of that to be balanced. And it's when we get out of balance, physically, mentally, spiritually, it's when things go awry, right? Father, sun, shine over me, lighting my way. So lighting my way. Speaking of light, today is the solstice. This is the day that we can both spiritually, symbolically, and of course literally, physically bask in more light than we can any other time of the year, right? So I love it when the solstice falls on Father's Day, or Father's Day falls on the solstice, whatever you want to look at it as. But being the day of the longest day, let's take that light and follow our path by using that, taking that symbol of physical light that's really there, and use that as, let's light our way. Give us more energy. I didn't sleep enough last night or the night before. I was really busy. But the light, I'm awake and alive, I know that the sleep will come when it's time. It's not that I didn't sleep any, but I was really energetic and I had a lot of things going, so it's okay. It's also, there's a third element of today, which some of us may want to celebrate, that I know I am. It's also what's become International Make Music Day. This started in France around 30 years ago by something called the Make Music Alliance, and it's really spread over the world. And I participated in it the last couple of years, and many cities and townships and I don't know, there may be counties that do it too, but however, make music is a thing in a lot of different places where venues offer up that wouldn't normally have music, and some that normally do, but to have music artists come share their music. And hopefully, what I think is raising the vibe. That's what I do this for. The esteemed Unity author and Minister Eric Butterworth said, I'm going to paraphrase this too, that one of the most self-limiting attitudes of the whole human race is the belief that it's the belief in chance or luck. Occasionally it is said, he's saying this, occasionally he said, I've been lucky. My prayer was answered. However, God, doesn't deal in luck. It's a self-delusional trap for what's really an orderly universe. And what he's saying is, we don't really get something for nothing. It's not the old adage, you work for your money. That's not what I meant. You don't necessarily get something for nothing under divine law, the law of divine mind action. You receive as you have given, and not in always in the same way. No more, no less. For the fortune that begins with you is not a roll of the dice or a winning lottery number or any kind of lucky break. It's what you're putting out into the universe and your time, your efforts, and what you decide with unity principle number 3 that you want to bring into your life. That quote really made me go back and think, being Father's Day, about my dad. And some of his habits, not all of them were good either, but interestingly enough, he used to love to play poker and dominoes. He was really good at card games. You know, he wasn't like in Vegas at the tables and stuff, but he could have been. I don't know. He was of that mindset where I'm not. I didn't inherit that from him at all. Although he never really won like a big lottery jackpot, he used to play the lottery sometime. He would just do it, you know, say his mind. And 2 times that I'm aware of, I wasn't living down in this area. I was living up in the Dallas area at the time, though. 2 times I know if he put 4 out of 5 numbers, and he won a couple of $1,000s a couple of times on lottery. So I said, wow, he's just like, he's got that knack, you know. But it's just, you're putting your mind to it. And what I figured it was later, and it's unity principle number 3, my dad was very generous with his time, and his money to some degree too. He didn't have a lot, he had enough. But he was very generous with his time. He was really getting back what he put into the universe, and he decided, I'm going to be good at this, and he did it. And there he was, you know. So the reason I brought that up is I'll never forget, I'm getting somewhere with this, is a number of years ago, in like 1998, the end of 1998, I hope my sister doesn't mind me saying this, but it's noticed, my brother-in-law had an aneurysm, and he had to go get to the hospital to have it, you know, worked on. He was young, you know, I don't know how old, in his 40s, whatever. You wouldn't think of an aneurysm can happen to anybody at any age, but during the surgery caused a stroke. So therefore, has been handicapped to some degree, you know, limited use of, you know, his one hand and stuff like that for the rest of his life, you know. He still drives, does a lot of stuff, but it's, you know, the point I'm getting at is my dad, even though this was in the last few months of his cancer journey, and my father died of cancer, and he'd had it for like 5 or 6 years by this point, was dealing with it, pretty good quality of life till he got to the end. And he was over there putting in like handicapped chair rails on the stairs and stuff like that. The minute this thing happened, just doing it himself, you know, just at it the whole time. And I was amazed. I couldn't get down here to do anything because I was living in the Dallas area. I got down here after he'd already done all that, but, you know. So the point is, very giving of his time. And he died young. I mean, I was disappointed. I was surprised, to be honest, that, you know, I'm now almost 2 years older than he was when he passed. And so I sit here and think, you know, I can't imagine me being older than my dad was when he died of cancer, you know, he passed. So anyway, just wanted to say that because that led me to, a lot of that started happening about 10 years after he passed. I started thinking to myself, I never wrote a song for my father or about my father after he passed. And I started almost getting down on myself about it, you know. So, but then one day, about 10 years after he passed, I started thinking to myself, I never wrote a song for my father or about my father after he passed. And I started almost getting down on myself about it, you know. So, but then one day morning, you guys, some of you may have heard this story, I don't know, but he came to me in a dream one morning, and I was standing in the kitchen of the house in Corpus Christi where I grew up. About 11 or 12 years of my childhood, formative years were spent in that house. And I was sitting there looking at the breakfast nook table off the kitchen, and my son was sitting there, which he would have never been there, as a teenager, and I was having a stressful conversation with him about something. And we did have enough of our own stressful conversations for sure, because there was a lot of issues, you know, things that he would do that I didn't approve of and all this. Same things that I would do that my dad didn't approve of. Then all of a sudden in this dream, my father appeared in my left peripheral vision. This was shortly after I'd had my detached retina surgery too, so it's interesting that he came in from this side where I have no peripheral vision. And it was just in this glowing, he's always wore golf shirts a lot, and he was wearing this really, the color aqua blue. I found one, almost wore it today. I found one like it in the dream. The color, this really bright blue, but it was an aqua blue, almost, you know, like a beautiful Caribbean color, like when you see certain water. Blue, and his eyes were almost the same color. He did have blue eyes like me, but they were really bright. And he looked at me just vibrantly. He said, he looked at me and said, you know, David, love is really the only thing that heals all things, always. That's what he said in the dream. And I looked over, and my son wasn't sitting in the chair anymore. I was.
Oh wow.
And that inspired me to
Wow.
the song called "Song for Rosie," which I think I want to play. You don't mind?
No.
It doesn't refer to the dream so much, but it does refer to some of the spiritual stuff and some of the good and the bad. And as you may or may not know, Song for Rosie is really not a song so much about him. And he did go by the name Rosie, that's why it's called that, Rosie Rosenblad. That was his nickname a lot of his adult life. Everybody knew him as Rosie. Whether they knew his name was John Calvin Rosenblad or not, it was Rosie. Everybody knew him as Rosie, you know. They didn't know all his sides, but they knew enough of him, the joys. So, I just feel I have to play this every Father's Day. And it's really about a song I never wrote. And then I did. I didn't need to do that. I've been sensing your presence more as I move through newly opened doors, especially the ones that are hard to get through. Why I never wrote the song really has no right or wrong. I quite didn't know what to do. It finally came to me when I was driving away. Escape was always my forte. I never wrote this song for you, but now's the thing I gotta do. It's a long time coming. This is the song that I never wrote for you, Rosie. Yeah, this is the one that I never sung for you, Dad. Well, this is the song that I never wrote for you, Rosie. This is the one that I'm writing for you now. Well, I'm doing it this way because I knew you always liked country. I think you sometimes got a little bit ras, cause I could be so full of avant-garde jazz. All those fights about air guitars and you thought I spent too much money. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But I still feel your spirit when I see somebody smiling funny. He had a weird smile sometimes. And that spirit was the open heart that would always lend a hand, even with stuff that we couldn't stand. I never wrote this song for you, but now's the thing I gotta do. It's a long time coming. This is the song that I never wrote for you, Rosie. Well, this is the one that I never sung for you, Dad. This is the song that I never wrote for you, Rosie. Now this is the one that I'm writing for you now. As I'm standing in the water near the place where we grew up, I catch an inner glimpse of things you never brought up. There were unresolved feelings and unspoken dreams. Still remembering your last words to me, that you were looking at my son and that you were ready to go. What I asked you had 2 meanings, but it's from spirit we all know. Why I never wrote a song really has no right or wrong. It's a long time coming. This is the song that I never wrote for you, Rosie. Yeah, this is the one that I never played for you, Dad. Well, this is the song that I never wrote for you, Rosie. Yeah, this is the one that I'm writing for you now. Yeah, this is the song that I wrote for you, Dad.
Wow. Beautiful.
Thank you. You guys have, some of you have probably heard that. It's been out, it was released in
Yeah.
You never
2018.
had it, so heard it.
Oh,
That-
2019. is
We
when
should
it
play
came
it
out.
every
more
Father's
meeting
Day from
today.
now on.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
you can't, yeah, when you listen to the recording of it, it's hard to just get the meaning when you see
That's a
somebody.
beautiful song.
It
Thank you.
is. Great.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Music and the lyrics.
I love the recorded version. I guess it doesn't have as much emotion, I guess, but maybe I should do a different version. But it does have this beautiful steel guitar played by, pedal steel guitar played by Larry White, who's no longer with us either. He was a really, really kind of pretty well-known pedal steel player around Texas and stuff, played with Ray Wiley and a bunch of other people. But he was a friend of mine. It's just, you know, sad to hear him pass, but he's, you know, years later. So, before I wrap the talk here, get into meditation, I wanted to get back to the fatherly thing regarding what things, doing songs like this and inspire me to reimagine and re-envision all the aspects of my life in the past, and then you can kind of let it go. I never have been one to hang on to negative things, and that's not the unity way anyway, right? We want to release and let go. But we don't want to deny the reality of things. And so I had to process a lot of stuff, that maybe some stuff that we had said over the years that weren't, and now I go back and look and say, hey, he did so many loving things as well, obviously. And so, the thing is, the other thing where I was going with this is envisioning your own best life. I wish that, even though my dad and mother went to Unity in Austin, my mother's always been into Unity. She's the one who got me into it. She's, you know, still alive, going strong as ever. But they did go to one of the Unity churches, and I think he got a lot out of that to some degree. But at the same time, it's really totally hard to if you're stuck in your ways and stuff sometimes. But I wish he had heard this quote from, for example, Unity co-founder Myrtle Fillmore: "We must learn to think health, to see health, to reimagine health, to imagine health, if we would express health." And so that's how The unity was born out of that whole concept of healing. And, you know, it was just his time to go when he went, so we know that. So, and Charles Fillmore, when he said, imagination is the power by which we image and shape substance, whether that be things we need to bring into our lives, healing in our lives, abundance. And of course from Scripture, from Romans 12:2, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Renewal, transformation, using your imagination to live your best life. That's really being alive. And I was inspired by the words of this philosopher and theologian, Howard Thurman, who just recently passed, in fact.
Oh, is that Uma Thurman's dad? Uma Thurman's dad?
I think
The
so.
Actress?
I don't know if they're related or not.
Yeah.
I think he is, yeah. But he said, don't ask yourself, yeah, I think you're right. Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive. And go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Awakened alive. Imagining your best self. And one more little thing about balancing divine masculine and feminine. Yes, from where else the Tao Te Ching? You were just waiting for me to say that, right? Verse 28, know the male and keep to the female, and become a watershed to the world. I couldn't resist that one because it's about the water. But know the male and keep the female, that's a balance thing. So, a question one might want to ask oneself, if you truly trust Spirit in helping guide your life, imagining and re-envisioning and envisioning your best life in both a divine masculine and feminine way, are you imagining all the possibilities? Or, if things aren't going your way, are you imagining limitations? You know? So I say, let's move forward with unlimited possibilities in achieving a more loving, abundant, and peaceful life and world. Thank you.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Such good energy.